Thanks very much. Thank you, Ido. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to be here to share my story. A little over 30 years ago, I had the opportunity to be a part of building what turned out to be an internationally successful cosmetic business, a leader in the cosmetic industry. Although I won't be speaking with you today about the challenges and the lifelong learning that comes with starting a new business, I am going to start by speaking to you about lipstick. This particular lipstick. Little did I know back in 1994 that this lipstick would prove central to my philanthropic journey and much more since then. By the time MAC Cosmetics had become an international success story and the makeup of choice for fashion, theater, and film, AIDS was a devastating word. Many of our friends and associates were dying from a disease that isolated them, stigmatized them, and was unstoppable. We wanted to do something about it. So when we established the MAC AIDS Fund, there was little support and awareness for people affected and infected with HIV and AIDS. And making it worse, the stigma associated with the disease was almost as deadly as the virus. We chose to take a stand and to use our extensive network of customers, staff, and retail partners to help us create awareness and ease the plight of people living with and dying from the disease. We developed a lipstick called Viva Glam and committed to donating 100% of its sales to our MAC AIDS Fund. Unlike with MAC Cosmetics, whose success grew out of word of mouth, we decided to put a great deal of effort into awareness around the MAC AIDS Fund. We chose RuPaul as our MAC AIDS Fund spokesperson. RuPaul was a Black, 6'7" drag queen whose persona reflected our philosophy that MAC was for all races, all sexes, and all ages. RuPaul visited AIDS hospices, patients and clients of the programs we supported. We toured with RuPaul throughout North America and Europe, sharing our message on AIDS. He was a huge advocate for the cause, and people loved him. The key to the success of the MAC AIDS Fund, beyond the money we were raising, was the way we engaged and empowered our customers, our retail partners, and our staff. Our staff were involved in the selection of AIDS charities. They would determine which charities in their communities should receive the money raised at their MAC counters. They would visit AIDS organizations in the communities and then make recommendations for where the money they raised in their cities should go. We wanted 100% of the retail cost of the lipstick to go to an AIDS organization in each city where the money was raised. One of the challenges was getting all of our retail partners involved to a greater extent than they were accustomed to. Firstly, we were asking them to support a cause that at the time had a very negative stigma attached to it. Second, we were asking them to give up any money made on the sale of a fundraising lipstick that we were about to launch. We needed our retail partners to help us promote this particular lipstick and cause, yet not to make any money from its sale. Some of our retail partners bought in right from the get-go, and others showed resistance. Some thought it odd that a cosmetics company would choose to support what they believed to be a sexually transmitted disease in the gay community. Once we received buy-in from all of our retail partners, we could ensure that all costs incurred in the promotion of Viva Glam and the making, sale, and distribution of the lipstick were covered. We contributed, again, 100% of the sale of every Viva Glam lipstick to the MAC AIDS Fund. The money went to programs directly and exclusively benefiting those living with HIV and AIDS. In the first 4 years, through the sale of MAC Viva Glam lipstick, we had raised close to $20 million. A number of years ago, we sold our company to Estee Lauder, and I'm proud to say they continue in a very big way to carry forward our vision for Viva Glam and the fight against AIDS. There are now a variety of Viva Glam products, and there have been a variety of Viva Glam spokespeople. The boldness of our original strategy with the introduction of RuPaul opened doors to numerous celebrities wanting to be part of the MAC AIDS Fund project. The initial commitment to support and advocate for people affected by AIDS and a willingness to go big is why the MAC AIDS Fund continues to be relevant today. Thanks to the support of its customers and retail partners around the world, MAC Viva Glam has raised, to this date, over $500 million. Thank you. After selling MAC, my brother, then husband, and I decided that we wanted to keep doing what we enjoyed most while we were at MAC. Giving back, engaging people, creating awareness for causes, and that's what our mission became. We started a family foundation with the commitment to provide immediate assistance to those in need while seeking to have long-term impacts. We also knew the more traditional approach of processing applications and designating funds from behind our office desks just wasn't right for us. So in 2002, I created YPI, our Youth and Philanthropy Initiative. YPI gives youth in high schools a hands-on, reality-based experience. By actually visiting charities, students develop an understanding along with a deeper sense of compassion towards issues and those negatively affected by them in their communities. It's important to introduce young people to local grassroots organizations that they can actually visit, because then the issues and the people become real and tangible to them. The Youth and Philanthropy Initiative is available at no charge to high schools who promote community involvement. Students pick an issue affecting their community and look for a charitable organization that is addressing that issue. These students then advocate to their schoolmates as to why this charity deserves a $5,000 grant from our foundation. The students present their findings to each other and then to their entire schools. In the process, it greatly raises awareness of an issue or cause and for organizations that are right in their community. Presentations are voted on by a panel consisting mostly of fellow students, and one presentation is awarded a $5,000 grant for the charity they promoted. YPI engages students in the spirit of philanthropy, and often it encourages them to get involved with and volunteer at the charity they researched or at a charity that they would have otherwise not heard about in their community. This year, YPI is celebrating its 17th year, and since its inception, 560,000 high school students have completed the YPI curriculum across Canada, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and 5 schools here in New York City. We have granted over $15 million to thousands of local community-based organizations that we may have otherwise never heard of. 100% decided by the informed and empowered choice of teenagers. YPI engages a new generation with the social issues affecting their local communities. It allows young people to explore what matters to them and to develop their skills and use their talents in ways the standard high school curriculum doesn't allow for. YPI gives young people the opportunity to see that we are all part of the same world and that we have a responsibility to challenge discrimination, stand up for people who are vulnerable, and be a part of ideas that make our communities better. Today, according to data researched by the Foundation Center, now called Candid here in New York City, YPI is the biggest participatory grant maker for youth in the world. We've worked with over 500,000 young people, granted over $15 million to charities in these students' own communities based on their research and their decisions. Together, we've connected 6.5 million people with our project in 5 countries. And we're not stopping there. We have plans to inspire more funders to democratize their philanthropy and include young people in their grant-making decisions. We want to deliver our award-winning program to more high schools, and we also want to deepen our impact on communities and systems. Last year, true to John Lennon's famous quote about life being about what happens to you while you're busy making other plans, a new opportunity came my way unexpectedly. After spending 18 years in a fast-paced, rapidly growing global business, followed by another 18 years in the field of philanthropy growing an international educational program, I decided to test early semi-retirement. Its appeal was fading quickly when one day I had a conversation with the founder of a fascinating international endeavor called Genius 100, by which that point I already had a certain connection with. He asked what was next for me, and I told him I wasn't planning on tackling anything new until I found the next great thing. A few months later, he suggested I join Genius 100, and I knew, based on conversations that I'd had with him, that this could be it could be more than the next great thing. It could be the next many great things. So there I went. My work at Genius builds on what I've learned through my involvement in YPI and MAC, and is very much in keeping with my passion for helping create social impact to help others. Part of what drew me to Genius is the opportunity to assist others advance ideas they believe in.
In the area of AIDS awareness is very impressive, no doubt about that. My question basically is in New York City, and especially in Rockland County, there is a problem of widespread measles. Through your youth and philosophy initiative or otherwise, are you working in that particular area to create awareness in the community about the problem of measles?
Well, what we developed, it was specific to the measles outbreak that's happening, and if we're finding a way to engage the young people in helping deal with that issue, I think that what we did with the Youth and Philanthropy Initiative is really allow young people the opportunity to get involved in an issue or something that is important or relevant to them. We don't direct them in any way, except that it has to be a local grassroots organization in their community that they can actually visit, because we want them to have the ability to continue to work with that organization or continue to work on that, on that issue. So it really is whatever is meaningful and relevant to them, at that time.
But what are your personal views that whether there should be any efforts to educate the community about that problem? There's a lot of resistance from the community.
To learn about the issue?
To get the measles vaccination.
Mm-hmm. Well, always. I think educating people and the more information you can provide them allows everyone to make a better decision. I'm not that familiar with what happened there specifically, but I felt like there was a little bit of sort of lapse in people getting educated or brought up to speed in the same way, and I think that creates just more concern for people. Sorry, yeah.
Don't you think, Julie, that the reason you were able to do what you did with MAC was that it was a family business and it was small, and you were able to, before you were public and whatever, how do you translate that thinking into corporations who always have reasons not to?
Yeah, I think you're right. Part of the fact was that we were we worked together as a family. We took risks that some people probably wouldn't take. I think part of our success actually came from not knowing the industry, which made us a little bit different to everything else that was out there. I mean, we were aware of what people were looking for, what was missing, or the gaps in the market, but we weren't doing anything we were willing to take risks, and the MAC AIDS Fund and the Viva Glam lipstick, and coming up with RuPaul as our spokesperson. I mean, RuPaul now was he's very more common to people. Then he wasn't working publicly like he's working now. He, sort of worked in the underground of New York City, but he was absolutely the right choice. And I remember Frank Angelo, one of the original founders, my brother's partner, said to me, he'd originally told me that, Julie, we're looking for, we found the perfect spokesperson for the MAC AIDS Fund, and I was responsible for customer service and public relations at the time. And I said, oh, who is it? And he said, RuPaul. And I thought, why? You can't do that to me. I'm going to get so many complaints. People are going to get upset. They're going to get angry. And he said to me, Julie, you know what? If you get phone calls and people are upset, it's perfect. He said, that's what we're going for. It gives you the opportunity to talk to them about what is happening. And just like that was like, it was just so interesting to me because I thought, yeah, that's right. And I sat there waiting for people to call and complain or create an uproar, and they never did. They never did. It was amazing. But I think you're right. I think we started, and we never started to be this, multi-million, then billion-dollar organization. We started to sort of fill a void in the market, and then we started the MAC AIDS Fund because our friends were dying of AIDS, and somebody needed to do something. And so we took that stand and took some chances, but I think you're right. Part of the program that we developed in schools, the kids have to go through this sort of a values lesson where they look and reflect on things that matter to them, because I really believe that the more you can get them involved and engaged in something they care about, the more likely they're going to remain involved in that. And I think local is really important because it allows them to walk into the doors of these charitable organizations, and they get to meet the people that have the needs. They get to meet the people that are running the organizations. And then when they step away, whether they win a $5,000 grant from our foundation or not, they're connected to that organization and they want to do more.